Once again, I thank you so much for staying with us. We continue to celebrate all the women in Kenya, across the world. And of course, we're asking who you're celebrating today. And Ami or Mohammed says, hi, Grace, I celebrate my mother, who did a lot to me in my life. Sir Godfrey says, I celebrate you, girl. Thank you. Thank you, Godfrey. Philip Maruba says, I would like to echo these words. A woman with a book and a pen has the power to move nations. A woman with a mind and a voice has the power to change worlds. Shasha, may you be brave and may you fly free, certain of your worth and of your wings. That is from Philip Marube. Thank you. Keep it coming at Grace Korea KE, at KTN News KE. My goodness, just bear with me. I'm sorry for that. Now, we continue the conversation we've been having with Joyce Wanjiku. She's the founder and executive director of Purity Elderly Care Foundation. So, Joyce, we are from Germany.
Yes.
We came back to Kenya, and we're now in South Africa.
Right.
Take it away.
Reader's Digest, the books. You know, I went through, serious depression. So I was reading the Reader's Digest little books, and I realized that all the problems that I was going through are problems that so many people go through. And Grace, I'll tell you, people have issues in life, and more or less, I will promise you that, I'm sorry about what you're going through. Yeah. So a lot of, you read those books and you're like, you didn't go through any problem. That was just nothing, and as I read them, I would read at night, I would read them, sleep, and like, God, yours was not even an issue. You did not do what you didn't want to do. You refused to do it. So, and eventually, my depression started going out, and that's how I went to South Africa. Sold whatever I had, the fridge.
The fridge.
Yes. And I went to SA and went Bridge College, went to Dublin College, went, did some jobs there. And being the aggressive Wanjiku that I am, I got a nice job with an international company, Skanska Telecom Networks. And there I was, promotion to, then went to
glory to glory.
Yeah, then I went to college, and the company again moved me from Durban to Johannesburg, with a car and a house, an apartment. And because it was an international company, I worked in, some of the branches in Sweden. I worked in Finland. I also went to the Netherlands. It was a consortium that was, temporary in Africa. For bidding for the third mobile generation in South Africa, but unfortunately they didn't win the bid, so I had to move to another company. So just progressively went to college, went to university.
And by the way, Joyce, this is what you wanted, traveling all over the world.
Yes,
that's what you wanted.
That's what I wanted. And I gallivanted, I was all over, gallivanting, totally, just doing. And living that beautiful life, and also worked, gradually I joined a church in South Africa, Rivers Church, and their foundation, where I served humanity within the church structures. So basically, what I wanted to do, or what I was praying to become, it is to be that person and to also be able to serve humanity. I did that in South Africa with the Rivers Foundation. And worked with these major companies, and I loved rugby. I still do, but I don't watch it anymore. Wow. So those are the things that, you can imagine a rugby fanatic, and you're going to Loftus Stadium, you're the Sharks with the All Blacks, and you're looking at, so basically that's the kind of life I lived. Until my mother died. My mother got sick, and at some point I knew it was cancer, and it was at its last stages. I went to see her, or I came home to see her in the year 20. I would come home quite often, actually, to see my parents. So it's not like one of those, where you go and stay abroad and you don't return home. Yeah. I literally did come home quite often. But when my mother got sick, and I knew it was cancer, I saw her documents. So, and I did a bit of research. The cancer had metastasized. So I came in 2009, found my mother very ill. We had a discussion. She was operated on. There was surgery done on her. Apparently it was hernia, but clearly it was not hernia. So those stages, if you look at, unfortunately, cancer is a killer, and I think we need to make it a national, disaster. We need to talk about. We need to talk about it. And So my mother, we talked, and on the 3rd of January, I remember, of 2010, she told me she was not gonna live long. We had a long discussion. We had drove her around to cut places as she told me things that, were, in her mind. And I went back to South Africa after that. And those, between the period she told me that and the 6 months, I realized I needed to go and see this woman. She told me she's...
Yeah.
But that time, I could have taken time out of work. Grace, I'm educated. I could have taken a sabbatical or even employed a qualified professional caregiver to take care of my mom, to change her diapers, to sing along with her, to just, to just encourage her and to just give her hope and, to just give her that dignity, which I did not accord her that dignity. I'm not talking about anyone else. I'm talking about me. I am the person who did not accord my mother dignity because I was not there for her. So my mother, I came on the 28th of May, and I had promised her that she would not die without wishing me happy birthday. And true to it, she did wish me happy birthday on the 30th of May, and she went with the Lord on the 3rd of June of 2010. I made Soccer World Cup. So after laying her to rest, Wanjiku go back to South Africa, and I was hosting. Now, remember, I'm living like flamboyant, that kind of life. You're
living large.
You're living large, and I hosted a lot of people from the States, from all over, and during now June, July of 2010, and it was one day I was in Loftus watching football at midnight, and it was cold. I was like, Yenny, you can stand here in this cold, watch soccer, and you didn't have time for your mother. Shame on you. Those things now started eating me up. That I'm doing things that it didn't make sense to me. How I lived my life without thinking of my mother. And again, I'm saying it's me. And gradually, after the Soccer World Cup, now I started to write concepts, thinking, you should have seen my bed. I'll just write, a concept on how old people or neglect, abandonment is there in the elderly. And I started even walking, as I walked the malls, I would see those old white wazungus with the trolleys pushing, and they're going to do their hair, and she's maybe 90, and they're like, oh, she's so lonely. So that's when I started now seeing how lonely elderly people can be. And I decided to start helping old people in Soweto. It didn't work out. God told me, no, I want you in Kenya. I didn't realize. And I still carried on with the Rivers Foundation. But when I tried to sell the concept of the elderly, it was not, the foundation is quite huge. And so basically, I went to my employer, and to my employer, I wanted to quit. They were like, you need a shrink. And yes, I needed a shrink because I really didn't understand myself either. At the church, also did a bit of counseling. They said, I think this is a calling. Do your thing. The shrink said, I think this is a calling. So my employer, it was like, Mark, it's time to go. And I had to give them their projection for 6 months, and I came back to Kenya. But before coming back to Kenya, what was the main trigger? The main trigger is that I was going to do the marathon today. But then
Beyond
Zero, yes.
Uh-huh.
But then I think this is also as important. It's a good marathon. It is a good marathon. Yes, I was jogging one morning, and on the 24th of May of 2011, and a fellow jogger running opposite direction was hit by a car, and she died on the spot. And we did what you had to do, when you call police, radio stations, do whatever you have to do. And I went back to my house, which was not too far, in Santon. Did you hear Santon? Mm-hmm. You had Santon, isn't it? Oh,
yes,
good.
I
Okay.
did.
Yeah.
Loud and clear.
Yes, but not, and she died on the spot. And when I got back to my apartment, to my house, it was like a blackout. When I woke up, it was 11. DSTV was like 11, and I had meetings. A project manager, I went in as a project manager in all my projects, all the companies I worked as a project manager. And a voice asked me, if it was you who was hit by that car, will you have done what I've called you to do? That was it. And again, because it was those panic attacks and you have the money and you have these medical cards, I went to the hospital for the panic attack and whatever, and they told me, no, you don't have a problem. I think there is something you really need to do, whatever you keep saying to us. And that's when I decided I was coming back completely to Kenya. And came back, and with my niece, we decided to go and check a few old people in Korogosho. And God told me, no, I'm not sending you to Korogosho. I want you to go back home, you know, to the village. And home I went to the village, and I registered now Purity Elderly Care Foundation, a non-government organization here in Kenya, and then to advocate and champion the rights of older persons and to support the suffering and sickly old people of society. Yes.
Now, as you did all this, especially like in your first days, would you remember your mother? Because there's something you said. You said you did not accord her the dignity that she deserved. Did you used to remember her as you did these things?
Yes, and that's why Purity, it's her name. The name of Purity, yes.
Name.
Purity is my mother's name. So everything I do, the mention of Purity, it reminds me, it takes me back to my mom.
Yes.
So basically, it's that every second, I think about my mom. And the more I think about her, the more I'm able to actually serve humanity in a very humane way. So, and that's why I tell people, the three words I tell people, it's about humanity, humility, and dignity. So, and my mother was that person who was a human being to a lot of people. She was very humble, and she accorded dignity to every Tom, Dick, and Harry, you know, drunkards, you name them. So, yeah, my mom was constantly on my mind, and the more, that's what keeps me going, to be able to serve. I have no regrets. Yes, I was provoked. I have no regrets at all. I'm not guilty. It is what God had wanted me to go through to be able to be who I am today. So I'm not saying my mother was sacrificed on my behalf, but it was God's way for him to manifest, humanity in yeah.
And you. Okay. Talk to us more about Purity Elderly Care Foundation.
Okay. Purity Elderly Care Foundation is okay, a lot of people think it's a one-man show, but yes, if it's me who does it. I do a lot of, we have colleagues that we work with. Purity is a registered organization that serves humanity from all walks of life. It is an organization that advocates for the rights of older persons within the country, Kenya. I started in Nyeri, where I was born and bred. Yes, where I was born and bred, and from organizing events, from taking the elderly who are sickly to hospital, to giving compassion even to the very rich who are lonely. The main issues that Purity Elderly Care Foundation focuses on: first, the challenges of older persons is loneliness. That is number one. Then it has all these others, like a disease that comes with it. There's poverty. And if you remember, I want to celebrate all the Mama women of Kenya for fighting for the independence. Those Mama women, a lot of Mama people were subjected to poverty because of the colonial times, where they were moved from one village to another, or where so a lot of people are left in abject poverty. So you find many are very poor today. So I don't like when people ask, why did they not invest in old age? It is because they were fighting for our independence, and that is why they are poor. Many are poor today. But yeah, I need to celebrate them. And at the same time, we also hold international days. Like we have World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, which is June 15. Then we have International Day for Older Persons. I'm sure you've seen me do parties with old people where we bring them together, we party. Yes. And again, we also champion for the rights within the government structures and families. In the Constitution of Kenya, Article 57 stipulates clearly that older persons of society should be taken care of by the states and the family. So it's not a state thing. Old people are not for the government. They're yours. So, and you're going to get old too. So I need to keep reminding people, we are not talking, it's not about them, it is about all of us. We all need to talk about, we are aging as well. So basically, Purity Elderly Care Foundation has made me be that person that I wanted to be them years. So when I was going to Germany, I think it was being molded. You know, when you take a pot and all gold, I was being molded to become this person that I am today. Yeah. And I thank God for that. Yeah.
Sure. And you actually reminded me of a piece that was done by my colleague Timothy Otieno. I forget the name, but it's basically about the way this elderly people are neglected. And, you know, I think it's actually a song that talks about how two parents, that's of course a mom and a dad, can raise about 8 children. Very well, actually. They provide everything that these children need. But then it's kind of hard for the 8 children to take care of the 2 or 1, you know, in the later days. What happens? Is it that we forget our parents, these people that sacrificed everything for us?
I think we have become a society. Yes, I know someone told me yesterday that you need to think about yourself before others. No, it's a we've become a meme society. First, there are a number of things that we have. We have technology. Cell phones, so you call mom.
Yes.
I'll send you some money for bone soup or something.
Is it enough?
It is not enough. They need to see you. I'm a victim of that. I needed to be there for my mother. And I did, and again, let's talk about even caregivers, even employing a professional caregiver. It's a mimi society, the social fabric. As really, again, it also boils down to technology because now we're on social media more. So if many kids would be us, they'll get their parents' smartphones so that they do selfies and send each other. So there is also the global changing landscape, urbanization, people traveling all over the globe, being in the diaspora, and others are not even able to come home because of either they're not living well, wherever they are, and they're not able to see their parents. So basically, there are quite a number of things that make people, and also back to poverty, then loneliness, disease as well. So there is also the issue of inheritance, whereby you find that children want to take what does not belong to them, but belongs to their parents. So people are they want their parents to die quickly so that they can take the land. So yes, there is the 9 children raised by the 2, and they will not be able to go back and take care of their parents. So there is that problem, and I want to challenge people that whatever you do today is going to impact your tomorrow. So there is stigma as well in old people, because you'll find a man probably was beating the wife, or the wife was insulting, or the person was bad in the society, or you're bad to your children. So when you age, you're stigmatized. So people just keep away from you. So yeah, basically that's there are things that people don't see, and the maids and facts of old people is that they are like children. No, they are not. Old people are not like children. So even if we are using diapers, they're not like children. They need to be respected because that whole circle of getting to 70 plus, and I think they need to be respected. There are myths that they smell because of old age. If they do, you will too when you age, and you should ask God to get you to that age. So there are those things, the myths, but stigma is one thing that really is affecting a lot of old people. Yeah.
And you actually mentioned social media, and you reminded me of these days, Father's Day and Mother's Day, and that's when we get to see all parents on social media.
Yes.
And people critic by saying your parent is probably not even on social media. Why are you posting
Happy
a
Mother's
photo
Day,
of your mom, of your dad, wishing them a happy Father's Day, and they're not even there to see it?
I know. There's also that now, the other thing that you find on social media, and forgive me, everyone, is that you'll find people posting when they are dead. When our parents die. We did do that. I did post when my dad died last year. I lost my dad last year, but one. And we post on social media when one is dead and you want. And we also focus more on funerals. Do you know that, Grace? So instead of taking care of that old person when the person was breathing, when the person stops breathing, you open a WhatsApp page.
I tell you.
And you start collecting money, and you start dictating how much a coffin is going to be. 70,000. I'll donate this. I'll donate this. Whoever has donated.
But you couldn't take care of the person when the person was alive, when the person was probably unwell.
Precisely. Yes, that is what is happening, and I think we need to stop that notion of actually focusing on the dead. Let's focus on the living and take care of the elderly or your people when don't put me on social media when you've lost a loved one, because it's really not necessarily. Let us know when one is living and how we can take care of that, or we can accord that person dignity. If it's diapers and people are using diapers, bring diapers, and then we support a human, the living. Let's focus not on the death, a lot. The Purity Dental Care Foundation as well is an organization that focuses more on, we call it dignity to the old. But as we accord dignity to the old, let's accord dignity to each other. Yes, that's my main emphasis. We work closely with the likes of Ministry of Interior Coordination, whereby the chiefs support us and community health workers to identify the needs of older persons, and we do assessments. And with the support from, you see, you can't visit a home, Grace, without consulting a chief. Because what if something happens and you are calling yourself an NGO, you'll be sued or something, you know. So basically we try to work with the community health workers and the Ministry of Interior Coordination. We also work with, once in a while, we work with the county government, and how do we do it, Grace? Some people call me Wanjiku Wakoro. A lot of people call me Wanjiku Wakoro. Yeah. Others will call me Wanjiku Kahoi. Wanjiku means the beggar. Yeah. So I am a professional beggar. And true, I am a professional beggar because
Wanjiku.
It is true, because I beg for donations. Yeah. You'll find, if I find a dilapidated shelter, we will repair. How do I repair that? And I don't have timber. So I'll go to Ashira or Kabila and ask him to donate timber. And I'll go to John or the other one and ask them to donate, nails and whatever. I'll look for food. I'll go to Samrat or whatever and look for food. So I am a professional beggar, and I am supported by a lot of people from the work that we do. And I don't work alone. There is a team behind me. Right. And we have our new patron. My father, Herman Cairo, was a patron. He passed away last year, but one. And it took me time to identify a new patron. And because the vision is the vision bearer, it's me. So for me, I had to do it personally to identify our new patron. And the new patron for the foundation is called Dr. Caroline Wanjiru Karugo, the Nyeri Deputy Governor. Yes, is the new patron for the organization. And I just love her zeal and her passion for humanity.
Okay.
Yes.
So Joyce, if someone wants to reach out to you or to help, how do they find you on social media, your contacts?
Social media, it's Purity Elderly Care Foundation. That's the Facebook page. Then we have, you can, Joyce Cairo, or Wanjiku Joyce Cairo, that's my Facebook. Then we have our phone numbers. You can call our office, which is 0721 355 485, 0721 355 485. And you can come on board. And how I would want people to support even more, do something in your community. So you don't have to come from Kisumu for me, or to invite me to Kisumu or to Nyandarua. If there is an old person in your area and is neglected or abandoned, and you really feel that person needs to be taken care of, do something in your area.
Indeed. Yes. Joyce Wanjiku, the founder, Purity Care Elderly Foundation. Thank you so much for joining us today. We do appreciate you and we celebrate you. Happy International Women's Day. Thank you for coming and, of course, sharing your story with us. Now, we did ask who you're celebrating today. There's lots of feedback. Robert Wilson saying, I believe in women and work. I celebrate all women, and especially those who work and can rely on themselves. Happy Women's Day to you all. At Grace Kureke, also celebrate you in a special way, being my great mentor, where I see my career and dreams come true. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Wilson. Vincent Nangat says, my mom, wife, and all hardworking women, and you, Grace, who have changed many women's lives through your show and men's perception towards women. Let me sample one here for you. From Cindy, she says, Joyce inspires me a lot. Actually, Europe is not as easy as people think. One has to work very hard to survive. Kenyans end up hopelessly in bars because they go to Europe with high expectations. But once they reach there, they find life is not easy. Jobs and language barrier are a big challenge too. That's it. Thank you so much for all the feedback. Thank you, Joyce, once again for coming today. Thank you for all the feedback. We do appreciate you. Once again, happy International Women's Day to all the women. And of course, I gotta be selfish a little and wish my mom, Lucy Njambi Kuria, a happy International Women's Day. I love you, Mom. Thank you so much for all.